Hey guys, Sharpend here. In this video I'm going to show you how you can turn basic Pluck chords like this one into big delay soundscapes like these. So in this weekend I've been experimenting quite a lot with delays and sound design outside of synths. And basically I've got to make tons of these soundscapes that you've heard in the intro, like these. And the cool thing about these is that they don't require any work inside of the synth, it's only outside. So the first thing in order to create these is to choose a pluck sound. I've chosen the ethnic pluck from a few tutorials ago. It sounds like this. And then the next thing you want to do is to route it to a mixer track and route it to a few send tracks. And in each one of these you want to open up a delay effect. So let's do that. And then you want to edit the delays in each one individually. So in all of them you want to set the dry to be all the way off. And then what you want to make sure is that your delay is tempo synced. And in each delay effect you want to set the time to different settings. So this one is a quarter note. So this means that it's going to fade out quite fast. So I'm going to increase the feedback by quite a bit. We want it to play for at least like 40 seconds at least. And then I'm also going to introduce some low pass filter to keep it interesting with some resonance. Let's go to the next one. In this one I'm going to change the time to something like 6. I'm going to set the feedback to be a bit higher, but not as high as the quarter note one. And I'm also going to, for example, band pass it with some resonance and set the dry all the way off. Let's go to the final one. I'm going to set the time to 10. I'm going to set the feedback to be not too high because the longer the delay time, the more time it's going to take until it fades out. And let's go with a high pass filter. And then once you play a note, let's lower the volumes by a bit. Once you play a note, it should sound something like this. Basically, you're creating a lot of different rhythmic patterns at the same time from just one note. And then what you want to do is to introduce some more modulation. So one cool way to do that is to just add chorus to some of the delays, but not to all of them. So for example, let's add to this one and to this one some chorus. Let's go with a different preset for the next one, like this one for example. And another thing that you can do is to create really big automation clips for the volume of each one of these send tracks, like really big. And in those automation clips, basically you just drag out the volume all the way. And then you use the wave shape, which is just like an LFO, to lower the volume by a tiny bit, but let's set the speed to something reasonable. And basically just do the same for all three of the automation clips at different speeds. So let's go with a slower one for this one. And another one here. Let's go with something really slow, something like this. So that way you get constantly modulating delay volumes. So you get a way more interesting and evolving sound out of all of these delays. So now the key thing in order to create this sort of soundscape is basically to play chords, but to not play them at the same time. So let's go for example with a C-7 chord, which is this chord. So instead of playing it like this, you want to play the notes at different intervals, time intervals, so that you can create a more interesting sound for the delays, because then each note is going to be delayed at slightly different times. Let's go all the way here, something like this. And then what you want to do is to just put that right here, enable your delays, and open up a recording software like for example Edison, and just record the result until it almost fades out on its own when the delays stop playing. So this one is way too loud, it's clipping, so I'm going to reduce the volume of it so that we don't get any clipping. And let's try that again. That's better. So now, as you can see, the volume of the delays decreases, and basically you want to go for something that lasts like 15 seconds, 20 seconds. You can go for full minutes if you want to. It just depends on how much feedback you put into the delays. So this one, as you can see, is still playing. It's very soft right now and quiet, but we're going to record that. So I think it stopped. And now what you want to do is to just go ahead and normalize the quieter parts. So we don't want to normalize this part, but the more quiet parts to find cool spots. So let's try this one. So this one is pretty interesting, but I'm going to go a bit closer to the start so that we get some more feedback from all of the delays, and some of them probably faded out by this point. As you can hear, this part has more complex rhythmic patterns, so I'm going to go with this one. And then the cool thing is that if you pitch it up and down, but you use the resample function instead of, for example, the time functions like the if generic or the stretch function, basically what happens is that it pitches it up and down by stretching the sample to go longer for lower notes and higher and shorter for higher notes. So you can get really cool different rhythmic patterns by stretching it up and down. Here's an example. Here's how it would sound normally, pretty fast, and here's how it would sound when we pitch it down using the resample function. Which is, in my opinion, way cooler than this one because it's way too fast, but you can also pitch it up really fast to get like really sparkly sounds. So it's really up to you, however you want to pitch it up or down. And then once you pitch it, you can save it and include the name of the chord so that you can then use it as a texture for your tracks or something to put beneath big breakdowns or something to give it a more of an atmospheric feeling. One more thing that you can do to really add some variety to the soundscapes that you're making using this technique is utilizing different BPM settings. Since we set all of our delays to be tempo synced, once we go up in tempo, they're going to be faster, and once we go down in tempo, they're going to be slower. Here's an example. And that way you can create different rhythmic patterns for different pitches. Like for example, if you want to have fast rhythmic patterns while still pitching down your chord, you can just go up in BPM, and that way you'll have faster rhythmic patterns while still retaining a low chord sound. And that is pretty much it. If you found this tutorial helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and let me know in the comments below what subject you want me to cover up next time.